Hi there, good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. And that depends on where you are and what time you are watching this. Welcome to Eduversations TV, where we have conversations about education. Today's conversation is about time management. I'm talking about how educators can manage time. Note that I'm calling it time management because I'm not saying time perfection, because the issue of time is what everybody deals with. There seems to be lack of time all over the place in the world for everybody. And since we have 24 hours, we have 24 hours for everybody. Everybody has 24 hours. And if we have so much to do, what we can do with time, the time we have, is to manage it. And managing it doesn't mean you will get to do everything at the same time and anytime you want it. It's about managing time and having to do other things as well. And that is what we're going to be looking at in depth today. So today's topic is time management for educators. To start off this topic, let's look at some common things people say about about time. So let's look at common things people say about time. The first one is, do you say, or have you heard people say, I wish there were more hours in the day? I'm sure you've said that at one time or another, or you've heard somebody say that. Okay, that's one thing about time. Another one is when people say, oh, there's never enough time. Have you heard that, or have you heard somebody say that? Another one is, I've been busy all day. You know, when somebody, maybe you've checked your phone and you've had 2, 5, 10 missed calls, and somebody finally gets across to you and they're asking you, how come I've been calling you? You've not been, oh my God, I'm sorry, I've been busy all day. Yeah, that's very common. That's very familiar. Another one we usually hear or we usually say is, I am drowning in work. It looks like all the work I have to do, everything I have to do, just like you can see this man here. It looks like everything you need to do, it's like you're drowning in them. So we have this common saying, I am drowning in work. Another thing we often say or we hear people say is, so many things to do, but no time to do them. Hmm. How do we have this balance? How do we make this balance? How do we make things work? There are just so many things to do, and yet there's not enough time to do them. That sounds familiar? Guess so. Okay, or do you always say, or do you usually say, or do you hear somebody say, I have a lot on my plate right now? You know, when maybe you're asking somebody to come to attend an event with you, and they're like, oh, I'm so sorry, I can't go with you. Or you want them to do something, and they're like, oh, so sorry, I can't do that now because I have a lot on my plate right now. That's very common. We all say that. I say this all the time. Okay, or how about, when somebody says, you don't even understand, I am a very busy person. Yeah. So, it's like the person is feeling like this, just so much to do. And we hear people usually say, I am a very busy person. Okay, those are familiar things we usually say, or we usually do, or we hear people say. Now, remember that this topic is all about educators. So when we talk about educators and we talk about time, it is important at this time to actually look at or explore these things that teachers or educators do. What are these things that educators do that they don't have time to accomplish? Okay, so let's look at the things educators do. The first one, of course, especially for teachers. Now, note that I'm using the word educators because that's going to cover teachers, assistant teachers, or school owners, school leaders, all of that, all the people in the education sector. I'm calling them educators. So the things I'm going to be listing might cut across, right? So the first thing educators do is lesson planning. This happens every week, if not every day. Teachers are always planning. Educators are always planning. They're planning and they're preparing for lesson. That's the first thing educators do. Another thing they do is marking and grading. Because as you give children work, you would have to mark their work. You mark and you grade. This takes a whole lot of time for teachers. This is like a nightmare for so many teachers because you're not marking one child's work, you're marking like five children's work, 10, 20, 30, sometimes more than that. So this takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time to do. And the next one, next thing educators have to grapple with is report writing. Of course, some in some schools you do have term reporting, termly reporting, end of session reporting. So report writing is what educators do. And then you have break duties. Some teachers have to stay with children during break time, and that's time they are using to just sit down and watch the children or walk around with them. Just make sure that they are all okay, nothing is going wrong. So we have break duties, and we have parent-teacher conferences. Once in a while, you have to have this conference with parents. So you talk about the progress of their children, areas to look at, improvement, and all that. So that's another thing that educators do that take their time. Another one is managing classroom and by extension, student behavior. Right. This one again, this one here is another nightmare. Okay, more things educators do. Another thing is they take daily attendance. So this is not just about say calling out names and having children answer present or absent. You have to take attendance, do the calculation. Okay, how many children were here today? How many were not? And then after that, you still need to maybe follow up with the students who are not in school to find out what happened and all that. This is another major thing that takes time. And then this particular one, oh my word, on the spot decisions. On the spot decisions, teachers take, I'm sorry, teachers take decisions like every second. That's why they're called on the spot decisions. And research, a particular research has said that the level of decisions teachers take, they take more on the spot decisions than brain surgeons, right? Yeah, so teachers take more minute by minute decisions than brain surgeons. Imagine that. That is a lot of things to do. That is a lot to do. Those are the things educators do. Okay, now let's move on. After school activities. So again, these are some of the things that educators have to do. After school, you have so we call them extracurricular activities in some schools, or you call them clubs. So clubs. That's another thing educators have to do. Then you have your private tutoring, aka lesson. Yeah, so imagine that after all of these, some teachers will still have to go and do private lessons for students in their homes. These usually take place like, okay, maybe around 4 p.m., 5 p.m., depending on when you close formally from school. And you still have to go and do that. Sometimes they have to do like 2 hours or 3 hours after school in the lesson. So, again, these are all the things that take time. And then for some educators who, of course, are family people, they have their own children. After all of this, they still need to go home and take care of their own children, especially if, when it comes to homework. They still have to do homework with their children, help them out with school projects and all that. These are the things that take time. And of course, especially if you live in Lagos and maybe Port Harcourt, those are the areas, those are the two places I know have a lot of traffic. So imagine that in all of this, after all of this, you still need to get into traffic on your way home or even traffic on your way to school. So these things take time. Okay, educators have to organize or embark on field trips. This one is, something that goes on periodically. Sometimes you have to organize and carry out school events, like maybe Christmas productions, maybe graduation events, all of that, different things in different schools. But these are the things you have to use your time to do. Of course, you have to attend meetings. Educators, there's always a meeting. It's either departmental meeting, a whole school meeting, or staff meeting, whatever. There's so many meetings that go on all the time in school, and these are the things that take your time because you have to attend them. Then you need to do pastoral care. Pastoral care has to do with being emotionally there for everybody. You have to be emotionally there for your students, for fellow teachers, your colleagues, and all that. Just showing that care and concern for other people. That also takes time. You are a resource creator. So this again takes time. So the lesson you have to take to teach, the topic you have to teach in class, maybe a math topic or an English topic, you need to create resources for them. That's another thing that takes time. And of course, you need to make sure that your classroom is looking visually stimulating. So you have to do displays, the things that you would put up in your class. Okay, you can see all the things. Look at how many things teachers have to do. Okay, or educators have to do. Then, of course, there are family matters. Way after you've left school and gone back home, there are so many things at home that need your attention. And of course, you have your private or your personal issues as a person, not even as a family person. So after family, you have your personal things to also deal with. Those take your time. And then for specifically for school leaders or school owners, you have to do marketing for your school. You have to get in students into the school. This takes time as well. Takes time and resources and money and every other thing. But that's another thing that you have to spend time to do. And of course, finally, again, for school leaders or for school owners, you have to go drive school fees. Maybe parents who haven't paid school fees in your school, you have to spend time, you have to invest time in chasing after them for them to pay school fees. So imagine that all these things are what educators have to do. But I'm sure that we know that these things that we've mentioned, I mean, before you sign that contract paper and you started working in that school, or before you took on that role as a school leader, or before you decided you were going to be a school owner, I'm sure you knew that some of these things are, or all these things were the things you were supposed to do. So these things are expected. We know we're supposed to do them. But the question is, why then do we always need more time? Why do we get overwhelmed with doing all these things? Okay, so let's dive in. I'm going to share some reasons why people feel overwhelmed, why people need more time. Now, in all this time management story, there are some people who it seems that they are not overwhelmed. It seems like they have it all together. It seems like they have more time than others. Why? What are they doing that makes it look like they are managing everything well? So let's look at some reasons why people might feel overwhelmed, why you might always need more time. Okay, reason number one, and note that the reasons I'm going to be sharing doesn't apply to everybody. But these are general reasons why people feel they need more time, why people feel overwhelmed. Reason number one is that some people feel that doing so many things at the same time makes them important. Yes, whether you believe it or not. Some people feel the more things I have to do, the more important I am. It shows how important of a person I am. So they just take on and take on and take on and take on, and they get to that point where, oh, I have so much to do. That's number one reason people feel overwhelmed and they need more time. Number two reason, some people can't say no. Yes. Mr. A asks you to do something, you take it on. B asks you to take it on. Because you don't want to say no to anybody and hurt their feeling. You don't want people to call you a bad person if you say no. But again, the more you take, the more you have to do, and the more overwhelmed you are. So the reason number two is some people can't say no because they feel like they want to please everybody at the same time. But we know that's not possible. There's no way you can please everybody at the same time. Reason number two, why people feel overwhelmed and they are always needing more time. That's because they want to do and finish everything at the same time, all the time, and all by themselves. This is very important. Look at this picture here. This lady feels that all these things here, she has to do it by herself. And she has to do it all the time, maybe every single day and every single time. So this is another reason you feel that whatever task you have to do or whatever tasks you have to do in a particular day, you must finish it all by yourself and you must do it all the time at the same time, all the time by yourself. That's one reason people feel overwhelmed and it feels like, oh my God, I have so much, I need more time to do them. Reason number 4, we say we will do things later. And so we keep pushing them off till they become a deadly pile. Right. I need to mark some children's work and it's just 2 of them. And you're like, it's just 2. I'll do it later. I'll do it later. So you push it on, push it away till tomorrow. By tomorrow, you have 5 more added to it. And you're like, yeah, 7. 7 is still okay. I can still wing it. And then you just keep pushing it off, putting it away till it is now 60 books that you have to mark and grade. Then you're asking for more time. So that's another reason. And of course, this applies to most people. And remember that I said some might not apply to you, but some might. But these are general reasons. Some people are very good at procrastinating. You just keep pushing it away. I don't feel like it now. I'll do it tomorrow. When tomorrow comes, I'll do it day after tomorrow. So that's reason number 4. Reason number 5. This one, it's something we need to look into for some people. Reason number 5 why you feel overwhelmed and you feel like you need more time all the time is because you don't have any time frame for anything. So today you're going to work, but you're spending 5 hours just marking. What's the time frame for marking for that day? What's the time frame for planning for that day? What time have you structured to do a particular thing? So for some people, they don't have any time frame. There's no sense of direction. It's just that whatever comes to them, they start doing it. And as they start doing it, there's no time frame. When are you going to finish doing it and get onto something else? So this is a big one. Some people just it's like once they get into doing something, they are sucked into that thing and they lose track of all anything called time. So again, you notice that by the time you've done something for 3 hours, 5 hours, oh my God, you've just succeeded in doing only one thing out of maybe 20. And then you're like, oh Jesus, I have a lot to do, I haven't even finished, oh my God, I need more time. Yeah. So no time frame and no sense of direction. Some people just work blindly. That's reason number 5. Reason number 6. Another one we need to look out for. Some people engage in a lot of time wasters. There are so many things we do every day. Believe me, this applies to everybody. Nobody is even exempted from this. There are so many things we do every day that are time wasters, meaning that they are unnecessary activities. Unnecessary being that the time we're using to do them, we can put that time to do something which is more meaningful, which is something that is targeted towards more to our goals. So reason number 6 is we engage in a lot of things that are wasting our time. Okay, so that's 6 reasons that I've shared with you. Okay, let's look at this quote. Again, this might give us a clearer perspective into time. This quote is by Peter Drucker, and Peter Drucker is a management guru and author. Peter Drucker said, time is the scarcest resource, it's very scarce, of the manager. And by manager here, they're not talking about school leader or anybody. Everybody is a manager. And then if it is not managed, that means if you don't manage time well, nothing else can be managed. This is deep. If you as a person, as a manager, if you're not able to manage time, then you can't manage anything. Okay, so let's just have that as we move on. Right, now this video, I'm going to make it worth your time. Okay, and by that I mean that you're going to be doing an activity. So I will need you to get ready for an activity. We're going to do an activity right away, and I'll tell you what you're supposed to do. Okay, so this is what you're supposed to do. Right now, you can pause the video and you can go get a pen and a paper. What we're going to do is a self-assessment quiz about time. So time management, you're going to assess yourself and find out whether you're managing your time well at the present, or whether you need to improve, or you're okay, or you're like bad. Okay, so get your paper and pen ready. Once you've done that, you're going to wait, and I'm going to be showing a series of time statements. So statements about time. I will display it on the screen, and of course, I'm going to tell you what you will do with them. Now, once I display those time statements, I will need you are going to read them and then write down your answer on the paper you've gotten. And of course, you will need to number them accordingly. So number one, number two, number three. So number one will have an answer. Number two will have an answer. Number three will have an answer. Okay, then at the end of the assessment, you're going to calculate your score. You will calculate and score yourself. You will see where you are in the time management quiz. There are 10 time statements that I'm going to be displaying. Okay, are you ready? Steady, go. Let's go. So I'm hoping that you have your papers ready. So number one, right now, write number one. And then when I give you the options, after reading what I'm going to display, you write number one and then choose your answer and write it in front of number one. Here's number one. So you're going to read this about yourself. So most of the things I do all day, oops, let's go back. Right. Most of the things I do all day at work. Work here will be school. Yeah. I'm assuming that you're an educator watching this. So most of the things I do all day at work are mechanical. You know, when you're just doing something like you're doing it like your body is used to doing it already. It's not really coming from you. So most of the things you do at work are mechanical and not personally gratifying. They are just stuff you need to do. They are not really giving you any form of fulfillment. Is this you? Now, this is how you would answer. If you answer A, if what I have read out here, if you agree, if it applies to you, then that is agree. So you're going to write 1A. That's agree. All you're writing is A, okay? And maybe it's just somewhat agree. Not really, not here, not there. So somewhat agree, you just write S. So 1 will be S if that is your answer. Then if it is disagree, like no, 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 I don't agree, then you're going to write D. So 1A or 1S or 1D. Okay, so that's how we're going to be ruling. This is question number one. Most of the things I do all day at work are mechanical and not personally gratifying. So is it 1A or 1S or 1D? Write it down and then let's move on. You can always pause this video, read very well, think about it. Once you have written your answer, you can unpause and then move on. Okay, let's look at number two. Number two says, most of the things I do all day are important to my employer, but not to me. Yes, I go to work. I work. I do all of those. Yeah, but they are mostly important to my employers. They are not really applying to me. So again, is it agree? Is it somewhat agree? Or is it disagree? Remember, you're only writing the letters, either A, S, or D. So it's number two is going to be 2A or 2S or 2D. Okay, let's move on. Number three. Most of the things I do all day are routine, and my employer doesn't really benefit from them either. Yeah, it's just routine, just things, not really important things, just routine stuff, nothing productive. And it's not productive for you, and even your employer is not really benefiting from it. It's like you're just going to sit down once it's 3 o'clock or 3:30 or whatever time you close. You take your time and you leave. Now remember that you need to be very objective in this quiz. Nobody is going to see your answer. I'm not going to ask you to show me your answer. You're doing it in your house or wherever you're watching this from. So it is an objective assessment of yourself. Do it for yourself. So you need to be very, very truthful. So for number three, again, is that agree? Is that somewhat agree or disagree? Moving to number 4. At home, most of the things I do are routine and don't really benefit me or anybody. So now it is at home. The things you do at home, are they just routine for you? Nobody is really benefiting you. Not anybody in the house and not you. No. So again, choose A, S, or D. Moving on to number 5. Number 5. At home, most of the things I do are important to other people, but not to me. How does that go? Agree, disagree, or somewhat agree? Number 6. Number 6, at home, most of the things I do are mechanical and not personally gratifying. Again, you're just doing them. They are not really benefiting you. You're not getting any fulfillment from it. That's number 6. Again, agree, somewhat agree, disagree. Number 7, my priorities are set by others at work. The things you prioritize, are they set by you or by others at work? So this particular one, really, really, really important. Are your priorities set by others at work for you? You are not the one who is setting what is priority for you. This is controlled by others at work. Is that you? Agree, somewhat agree, disagree. Remember, you can pause anytime and think about your answer before you go on. Number 8, my priorities are set by others at home. Is that you? Again, write your answer. Number 9, if I had the choice, I would use my professional time much differently. Professional time here would mean the time you spend at work, right? The time you spend wherever it is you work or whatever it is you do. So if you had that choice, would you use your professional time much differently than what you are doing now, or than what you are using it to do now? Okay, again, write your answer. Finally, number 10, if I had the choice, if I had the choice, I would use my personal time much differently. So the other time was professional time. Number 9 was professional time. Number 10 is personal time. Would you use your personal time much differently than what you are doing right now? Again, write your answer. Now it is time to score yourself. Let's get the results in. And guess what? You are going to calculate your score by yourself. Remember, I'm not going to see it. Don't be afraid. I'm not going to say it. So no judgment here. But this is how to calculate your score. Okay. Now, for every number you wrote agree, you're going to give yourself 3 points for that number. So if number 1 was agree for you, give yourself 3 points for that number. So every number you have agree, give yourself 3 points for that. Every number you wrote somewhat agree, that's S, give yourself 2 points for that. And every number you wrote disagree, that is D, give yourself 1 point for it. Again, you can pause the video right now and start doing your calculation. And when you're done, you can unpause and move on. Okay, so now let's look at what the results say. After you have calculated, after you have scored yourself for each number, for each of those numbers, calculate it now, add all the numbers together, and let's see what your score says about your own time management. Okay, so result A, if all your calculations gave you between 23 and 30 scores, 30 points, if this is your score, anything from 23 to 30, this is what it says about you. That means you see yourself as a victim who has been robbed of your control over time. That means others control your time. You don't feel empowered to set your own priorities or to determine how your time is used. As a result, much, if not most, of your time feels wasted. You can pause and read this very well and think about it. Was this your score? Okay, results B. If you scored between 17 and 22 points, this is what it says about you. You might be ambivalent. Ambivalent means both ways. You swing both ways. You might be ambivalent about the demands of your time. You accept the fact that life is about compromise. So sometimes, yeah, you let others control. Sometimes you take charge. You accept the fact that life is about compromise and have compromised yours out of necessity or apathy, right? Result C. If you scored between 10 and 16 points, this is what it means about you when it comes to time management. You have a healthy outlook on how to use time and keep your priorities straight. In your life, you maintain a healthy balance between work and play. Okay, so where did you fall in? So if you can only share with me if you want to. You can share in the comment section. All right. So, but you're not compelled. You can share. I mean, we're all learning here, or another person can learn from what you have to write in the comment section. Right. So this is what you should know. At least if going away from this video today, you can tell yourself, oh my God, I've not been this whole time management everybody keeps taking. Today, you have a better perspective, a better understanding of what it even means. So now, whatever results you got, let's now look at how to manage time. This whole time management thing. Let's look at the basic thing about time management. So we have what we call the time quadrant. Quadrant meaning, four squares. Okay. So let's look at this. Our time quadrant. Okay, so here. Right. So in the time quadrant, we have four squares. And to have a better understanding of time management and the things you have to do, this first quadrant, you have things you do that are very important to you and they are urgent. The things in this first quadrant are the things that are very important to you. They are important to you. They are not they are not time wasters. They are very important. You must do them. But you must do them urgently. Now. Now, the things here, what it means is that you are always struggling to stay ahead because they are important, they are urgent. You have to do them now. Everything now. So as you do them, you're struggling to stay ahead because as you're finishing it, another one is coming on top of you. That is the first quadrant. It's important and it is urgent. Now, the second quadrant is important but not urgent. It's something that you have to do. It's part of your goal. It's part of what you will do to achieve your goal. But it is not urgent. It is not on your neck to do it. It's not choking you, right? Now, the things there, you are calm and in control in quadrant 2 because these are important things to do, but they are not urgent. You're taking your time to do them. You get to do them, but because they are not urgent and choking, you calm down and you plan it very well before carrying it out. Now, quadrant number 3, which is here, are things that are not important, but they are urgent. I'm sure you're wondering, what can be not important but very urgent? An example is when you're having a meeting or when you're teaching and your phone starts ringing. You look at it, oh my God, it's your mom, or it's your brother, or it's your husband, or it's your wife. Now it's very urgent. It's very urgent. You have to pick it because you don't know whether there's any problem. But at the end of the day, you pick it and the person is just saying, oh, I just wanted to check up on you, especially if you know why the person is even calling, right? What makes it urgent is that your phone is ringing, you can say it. So it's like pick. It's like asking you to pick it. It's urgent. You must do it. So the things here are not important, but they are urgent. Now, in this quadrant, it looks like you are busy doing, you're always doing something, but they are not taking you anywhere. You are busy going nowhere, nothing productive, no results. That's quadrant number 4. Now, the last quadrant here is not important and not urgent. The things here make you a mediocre, somebody who doesn't have quality, no value in life. You're just there. So when you're always watching television all the time, social media, you're always on social media, those things don't add up to anything. Okay, so here is not important and not urgent. That is what this quadrant. So this gives you again a better idea of what you need to do with your time. Now let's get to the practical aspect of this, or rather the action step. After watching this video today, when you're going home, these are the things you're going to be doing with your time. So that takes us to what we call the 4Ds of time management. So when you have all these things that you need to do, whether they are urgent, not urgent, important, not important, there are always four things to do with the activities you have, and they are called the 4Ds. So we're going to be using this quadrant again. So again, this is your important things and urgent. So it's important, it's urgent. Oh, do. Now, of course, this is do. You must do these things, right? You must do them. But the advice here is avoid being here all the time. And how to avoid being here all the time is you need to strive to be in quadrant 2, which we're going to look at now. So the things that are important and urgent, you have to do them. You must do them because, again, important and urgent, so you must do them. But avoid being there all the time. All the time, because yes, there are some times we must be here, but try as much as possible not to be there all the time. Now, the things that are important to you and they are not urgent. Okay, remember we said here you are calm and in control. So what you do with those things is to defer. So we call them defer or we call them delay. Okay, so you're delaying here. Remember we said you are calm and in control and you can take your time to do them. So what you do here is to defer or to delay. Okay, the things that are important to you but not urgent, defer. Don't rush to, don't make them be here. That's the whole idea. Try and get to the point where the things you need to do are important but not urgent. Get to that point where it is not like if you don't do it now, oh, everything is gone. Don't get yourself to the point of do or die. Okay, so here you are deferring or you're delaying. This is where you should aim to be at. We should all aim to be here where the things we need to do, it's not choking us to do. We need to do them, we must do them, but it's not like this. Like we must do it or we die, or we must do it or the world falls apart. All right. So that's for urgent, for important and not urgent. So the 4Ds of time, the first one is do, the second one is defer. Now the quadrant of not important, but urgent, like that phone call thing. Every time your phone rings, you want to pick it up. What you do to that one, of course, there might be other activities there, but what you want to do in this quadrant, where at the end of the day, these are things that are not important, but they're urgent. It's like you're busy all the time doing it, but at the end of the day, it's not really adding up to your goal. What you must do to those is to delegate. So, for example, instead of taking out that time to go and answer the call, and the person is just saying, "Oh, I just wanted to check up on you," and you've missed out precious time to achieve something, you might ask somebody to answer the phone for you. That's if it is a phone call. It might be other things that, okay, maybe you need to maybe somebody brought a paper or a book to help you to ask you to help look at. You can ask them to keep it, or you can tell somebody else, oh, okay, they need me to look at the chapters and be sure that you can delegate. Delegation is a skill that most of us don't have. We don't know how to delegate. And because we don't know how to delegate, again, it takes us to this quadrant where we have to do it by ourselves. Okay, and the final okay, so for delegate, of course, don't let this steal your time. Anything you can give to somebody else to do, give it to somebody else to do. Okay, don't try to do everything by yourself. Remember we talked about what takes time, what makes people need more time. Don't try to do everything by yourself all the time. Learn to delegate. And the last one, delete or drop or dump it. Those are the other words for delete. Delete it, dump it, or drop it. Okay? If it's not important to you, if it's not urgent, delete it out of your list. Don't bother. Okay? So here, the things you need to delete, if you spend your time doing the things that you need to have deleted, that's the number one time waster in the world. And what you need to do is to flee from them. Okay, this is where I'm going to come to the end of this session. I took time to do this so that you can take your time too to listen to it, to watch it over and over again. So when it comes to time management, always remember the 4 Ds of time management: do, defer or delay, delegate or delete. Other words for delete is delete or drop or dump. Okay, so now this gives you a better idea of what to do going on. In the next video, now that I've dealt with time management, I'm going to be doing productivity for educators, because we want to get to this point where we're doing something not urgent, not important, but it's productive. We want to get to the point where whatever we're doing is productive for us. We want to get to the point where we are managing how to do things without choking, without being here, where we have to do it or die. Okay, so my next video, or maybe it might not be the next one, but I'm going to do another video on productivity for educators. Learn how to be productive, learn how to manage all the things you need to do using the help of other things, technology, productivity tools. I'm going to be sharing with you some productivity tools that you can use to manage the things that you need to do. Yes, it is it's very, very possible. Okay, the secret to people who you think that they have more than 24 hours in a day is because they are productive. They're using productivity tools. They are finding out how to manage all they know how to do the tasks that they need to do without them being the one doing it all the time and always. Okay, so that's the end of my topic today. If you have any question, please drop your question in the comment section, whatever it is, or share your comments, your suggestion, your contribution, your observation. Share in the comments. And if you loved this video, please give it a thumbs up, like the video, of course, drop your comments, and very importantly, subscribe to our channel so we have more subscribers. The more subscribers we have, the more YouTube pushes our content out there and other people can get to watch it as well. So subscribe and share this video with another person. It might not be an educator or an educator friend of yours or a colleague. Share this video and have them watch it as well. Let's all learn. It is free. I'm doing this free. So what do you have to lose? Nothing. Okay, so share, no harm in sharing. So share, subscribe, leave a comment, and of course like this video. And in the absence of any other thing, I'm going to run to the comment section now to read all the comments and answer you. I love the comment section because I love to rub minds together with you. All right, it's bye for now and take care. I'll see you in the next video. Bye.